Hey, what's going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is a digital asset space. So guys, yeah, so I apologize. Listen, the Zoom thing is just, I don't understand what's going on with Zoom. It's just not working. In fact, my daughter started going to school, Little Miss Crypto Siege. Today was her first day, and she's having the same issue with Zoom as well. The computer camera is indicating that it's working fine. But when you use Zoom, for some reason, just doesn't show, right? So you don't get to see your face when you show the video on. And she actually had to use her phone to start to do some of her assignments on Zoom because it wasn't working on the computer. So it seems as though, and it's an HP computer, so it seems as though it is an issue with Zoom and PCs, whether it be, I don't know if it's the Windows 10 version or what it is. I have the Windows 10 and I have the latest version that they're getting ready to release, which is version 2004. So I'm not sure what is going on, but very, very odd thing. So it appears to me that it's something with Zoom and Windows 10 because Miss Crypto Siege has a Mac. Works fine. Obviously, her iPhone works fine. Everyone's phone works fine. It seems to be an issue with Zoom and Windows. So, and it's not the privacy thing. We already checked that. So it's not that. It's something with Zoom and Windows. So if you guys know any solutions, I would definitely appreciate it for sure. But anyway, guys, listen, I'm going to share something from Chris Larsen today. I think it's hugely important to kind of go over reality, right? And so there's been always kind of this debate within the XRP community, if you will, friendly debate, I'm sure, about whether or not the US is behind, or not when it comes to blockchain, DLT, blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, digital assets, cryptocurrencies as a whole. Right. And it was interesting to listen to Tom Emmer the other day at a town hall meeting with Brad Garlinghouse, with Jeremy Allaire from Circle, right? Some significant, prominent people in the digital asset space. And Tom Emmer, he kept pointing to Congress, certain members of Congress not wanting to move forward, certain members of Congress not really embracing and willing to take up the learning curve, if you will, to learn more about blockchain technology, DLT, distributed ledger technology, and digital assets, right? Another pushback that I think a lot of people don't get is that the top 5 banks are doing a lot of pushing back, right? And so when you say the US is behind, what do you mean by that, right? The US is behind. Is the US Congress behind? Is the current administration, is the POTUS behind? Are US fintech services, are they behind? So when you say behind, what do you mean, right? So what I would say, a reality is that President signed an executive order 13772 years ago, right? Executive order for a new financial system. That was signed years ago. Ripple, the US fintech company, has been in the fintech business, right? Providing blockchain and DLT, providing DLT services, right? For a long time, right? 2015, maybe some people even say 2014. For a long time. I'm not sure if there's any superior technology out there, right, that can compare, especially in the payments space. But what we have here in the United States that places like China doesn't have is a free will by banks to oppose moving forward. China doesn't have to deal with that. China doesn't have to deal with other banks saying, oh, we've been having a pretty good. I think we want to just kind of hang out where we are. They don't have that. They don't have the ability to push back something that the government may want to do. They don't have that ability to do that. In the United States, they do. They have that ability to do that. So the top 5, maybe top 8, maybe, they can push back. They can stall things. They can push back and stall things, right? Because there's a Congress. There's a Congress. There's a democratic process that China doesn't have to deal with. That's a reality. They don't have to deal with it. So when you say behind, what do you really mean? Like, what do you really mean? The reason, and I'm going to go over this article with Chris Larsen, but the reason why he's pointing this out and making these points, right? Making these points is so that the message, the overwhelming majority can push out, if you will, those few banks. The few banks have a lot of power, right? They have a lot of power. And Brian Brooks is aware of that. Now, the markets, ultimately determining it is a process. Like, it takes time, right? So my point is that the current administration, it can't just simply do a thing, right? There's a process that China, again, doesn't have to go through. Now, you could say Singapore is different, right? They may have a certain kind of progress or process that is more favorable. Yep, that is for sure. So you take someone like Singapore, absolutely more open and more receptive to the space. Absolutely more receptive or more open, more forward thinking than this current Congress, if you will. I always think, why is Congress wanting to kind of drag things along? And I just think of the top 5 banks and what they're looking to do. Unfortunately, people in pockets of other people is a real thing here in our democratic process, if you will, right? And that is unfortunate. It really, really is. All right, guys. So listen, I'm using StreamYard because I can't use Zoom for some odd reason. So forgive me on kind of stumbling along and sharing what I want to share, because I think each time I have to stop a share and open up a new share tab. So we're going to try and do that. All right, guys. So listen, this is going to be XRP Ripple daily news, and it's probably not going to be around 10 minutes. So we shall give it a try. All right, guys. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go over here to what I want to share. This is an interesting article from Chris. I believe the contributing author is Chris Larsen. So we're going to go over that here. Try to share. So it says the tech Cold War is here and the U.S. is not winning. So it says right here, by Chris Larsen, opinion contributor, 8/21/20. So let's check this out. Like it or not, the United States is already fighting an economic and technological Cold War against China. Now, listen, I know this has probably been covered by some other people, some other YouTubers. So just bear with me as I kind of add my own personal kind of perspective on what is really kind of going on here. The U.S. is already fighting an economic and technological Cold War against China. While we should aim to eventually return to the optimism and promise of a broad China-U.S. partnership, the time for that is not now. This is a major challenge to our country, and we must do everything we can to avoid losing our economic leadership. I like that way he put that. By now, we all know the rivalry in 5G and AI, part of China's 1.4 trillion technology commitment. Less attention has been given to an equally consequential struggle. Who will control our future global financial systems? The power and privilege Americans enjoy from the dollar being the world's reserve currency cannot be overstated. While the United States makes up 21% of global GDP, the dollar accounts for over 88% of global trade. Part of this privilege comes from America's stewardship of the world's financial infrastructure, giving the United States enormous power in international relations and advancing a global economic system based on American values of economic freedom and open access. The world, including China, has also benefited enormously from American stewardship. But a moment of fundamental change is upon us. Much of the world's financial infrastructure is based on antiquated technology from the 1970s and faces dramatic change from digital wallets, blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, and interoperability protocols. For China, this is a once in a century opportunity to wrest away American stewardship of the global financial system, including its ultimate goal of replacing the dollar with a digital yuan. While far from a household name, these technologies are gaining popular traction. At a high level, cryptocurrencies are digital assets or currencies enabled by distributed ledgers called blockchains, where there's no single system controller. Different from traditional fiat money that is issued and backed by governments. Blockchains are essentially public databases that anyone can access and that allow you to move value without a central counterparty. China is playing the long game with a series of strategic moves that should make the U.S. paranoid about maintaining our lead. This is from Chris Larsen, contributing editor here on thehill.com. It has already achieved near universal use of digital payments domestically through financial tech giants such as Alipay and WeChat. And it's on the cusp of issuing a state-controlled digital currency, the digital yuan. The Chinese government is also subsidizing the vast amounts of energy needed to fuel cryptocurrency miners in the country. Now, that is something I did not know. All right, we all know about China having the vast majority of Bitcoin and Ethereum mining, right, in China. I did not know that the government was subsidizing the energy needed to fuel the mining. Did not know that. So mining is one way to verify blockchain transactions where individuals or companies solve complex mathematical problems for crypto in return, right? So they solve these problems, they get crypto, Bitcoin or Ethereum in return, right? At least 65% of cryptocurrency mining is concentrated in China, which means the Chinese government has the majority needed to wield control over those protocols and can effectively block or reverse transactions. That's an interesting statement because I thought that you could not do that. I guess if you just execute double spend attacks, I guess you can, 51% attacks. It's an interesting statement as well. In addition to these technological achievements, China has also been smart about building leverage to deploy them. Consider its Belt and Road Initiative, a powerful multinational effort to spread these technologies cross-border, including to key U.S. allies. With expanded security powers in Hong Kong, China is now the only country in the world that controls two global financial centers. Shanghai is their other. Unfortunately, the U.S. is woefully behind. As co-founder and executive chairman of Ripple, a San Francisco-based company that uses blockchain technology in international financial transactions, I understand that the consequences of losing our financial lead are dire. U.S. domestic digital payments are still playing catch up. Cash and debit cards still dominate. There is still no digital dollar initiative. Despite thoughtful advocacy from the likes of former CFTC Commissioner J. Christopher Giancarlo, U.S. regulators have blessed only two blockchain protocols, both controlled by miners in China, which puts American blockchain companies at a huge disadvantage. Even if one assumes there's only a small chance of the U.S. losing financial stewardship, that should be enough for an all hands on deck response. It's not hard to imagine a dystopian future. A United States defense payment to an ally could be blocked or reversed. A United States company's payments to a Vietnamese manufacturer could be stalled. U.S. banks could have their payments restricted if they run afoul of Chinese policy goals. We've already seen China pressure major wealth managers in Hong Kong to restrict access to financial services for clients with pro-democracy leanings. Isn't that interesting? The United States must recognize that strong American financial technology companies are in our national security interest. The United States must recognize that strong American financial technology companies are in our national security interest. My friends, that is a very, 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 very powerful statement. And perhaps one that might continue to echo throughout the halls of Congress and in this current administration. It's a powerful statement. It really, really is. It starts with a digital dollar initiative to keep up with the digital yuan. The next step is viewing Silicon Valley as a global financial technology powerhouse, and even moving some of our federal regulators to the West Coast. There's no reason Silicon Valley can't be one of the global financial centers of the future, which, along with New York City, would level the playing field with China. Guys, I titled this recording. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, but we shall see. I titled it, Chris Larsen holds no punches. Right? He's coming out, right? He's coming out swinging. And perhaps most importantly, we must adopt a far more supportive regulatory approach to blockchain and cryptocurrencies, especially those technologies developed and used by American companies. Unfortunately, the United States has taken a mostly hostile approach to these new technologies, establishing policy either through enforcement actions or blanket pardons to specific assets. Our current anti-blockchain regulatory approach is in response to the alarming initial coin offering craze of 2017 and 2018, in which some investors fell victim to fraudulent offerings. While the response was appropriate at the time, now the lack of clarification of what good looks like is stifling U.S. innovation and sending homegrown companies overseas. Nicely done, Chris Larsen. Just as the U.S. set clear, consistent policies that won the internet revolution, it must do the same with financial technology and blockchain. China is currently winning the financial battle of the technological Cold War. As a result, it's more likely China will dictate important parts of a new global financial system. An unnecessary loss that we had all the tools to win. Very, very powerful words coming out of Chris Larsen's mouth right there, guys. I have to tell you, very, very, very popular, powerful words. And I got to tell you, I have to go back to this because I think this is something that, pushback from, the top 5 banks or not. I think that this is something that will really, 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 really have a significant impact if echoed throughout the halls of Congress and in this current administration. Trust me when I tell you that this particular write-up from Chris Larsen has reached the desk of this current administration. Trust me when I tell you that. It has reached the desk of the POTUS. And here's a sentence in the statement, again, that can be echoed if chosen, right? If chosen to, can be echoed throughout the halls of Congress. And it is this: the United States must recognize that strong American financial technology companies are in our national security interests. That's a powerful word. That's a powerful statement. This is something that congressmen, when they're getting pushback from the top 4, 5, 8 banks, these are some things that can be said, right? Especially when the American people start to do the same. Very, very powerful. Thank you, Chris Larsen. That's a great write-up right there, my friend. A great write-up. All right, guys, listen. I'm going to wrap this video up like I do all my videos. I hope this is some food for thought, really, because again, I just think that we don't want to let the democratic process stifle progress. Right? There's zero doubt in my mind that the top 5 banks don't want to embrace this new technology. Zero doubt in my mind. Only thinking of themselves, right, and their shareholders. They don't want to let go of these, hundreds of billions of dollars in fees. They don't want to let go. It's not the other 9,995 banks. It's just not. It's the top 5, maybe top 8. We've already heard that from Brad Garlinghouse. The other 9,995 banks want to move away from the SWIFT system. Blockchain technology provides a measure of transparency that I just don't believe the top 5 banks are interested in seeing. That's really the bottom line. And again, when they know there's a process, when they know that unlike China, there's a process to things, they can play that game, try to slow things down and hope to try to catch up. That's what it feels like to me. So just understand that. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to end this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.